Hello YouTube, this is Debt Free Cars with another episode of saving some money on your car repairs. So today I have a 2008 Infiniti G35. It has the infamous leaking gallery gasket that sends a code P0011 and P0021 in the check engine light system, the OBD2 system. Now, so this repair has been done obviously in the videos, but today I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to do this project in your home garage right here. So this isn't using tools at a shop or a lift. Okay, this is doing it at home. So I'll give you 5 tips, 5 major tips that will save you a ton of time and a ton of money. But be sure to subscribe and thumbs up this video if you like it and if it helps, and provide any comments below. Thanks. All right, folks, so number 1 tip for the 2008 G35 gallery gasket repair. As you can see, the front end came off. Yes, the front end is going to be required to come off, the bumper. However, one of the tricks is that a lot of people have actually evacuated the AC system. Well, the thing is when you're working in your garage, you don't have an AC evacuation machine. So it's either you take it to a shop, have it evacuated for $100 and then do the repair here, or what I found out is actually you could actually take out the crankshaft bolt. There's actually enough clearance and you don't need to evacuate your machine. So this is how you do it. So as you can see, this is the AC line coming down through here. What you want to do, first of all, you got to take out all the bumper, you got to take out the support. And then the headlights actually need to come off too, because the headlights actually keep the front of the radiator support on. So one of the strangest things with this car is that, you see this? The AC condenser is actually combined with the radiator. It's actually one piece of aluminum. No one actually tells you that in all these videos, but this is like breaking news right here. The AC condenser is actually part of the radiator, so you cannot remove the radiator by itself to get the extra space for your tool. Now, what you want to do is you take out the front bumper, take out the metal reinforcement. You could loosen some of these lines here that kind of get in the way, but there's these bolts right here. Okay, these bolts actually carry the radiator support. There's some other small bolts around, so just take a good look. This video's kind of made for someone who's more of a moderate mechanic here. So here's some more. So once you get those bolts removed, next thing you want to do is remove the radiator fan. Okay, it's pretty simple. Just two bolts here, and then it lifts up, drops down. There's some hoses and things like that that connect to it. Once you get that, you actually have enough room. You see right here, when you pull this back just enough, you pull the radiator now, you could tilt it. You don't have to remove the whole thing, but you tilt it and you keep these AC lines intact. Okay, so the system is actually still fully charged here. And just to warn everybody, you cannot release the Freon into the atmosphere. Okay, that's actually very bad for the environment, and it's illegal everywhere. So don't do that. But once you do that, you actually get enough clearance here to get your impact wrench, and a proper tool can remove the bolt. So that leads me to tip number 2. Okay, tip number 2. So I have a pretty powerful, about 300 foot-pound impact wrench. This is a air impact wrench, although there's some M18s and some Milwaukee impact wrenches that probably could do the work, electric impact wrenches that could do the work, but I have an air one. But here's the trick, is that the bolt is a 19 millimeter bolt. But what you actually need is you need to get one of these. This is actually a weighted socket. If you take this socket off, it weighs like 5 pounds, maybe like two pounds, something like that. So only this weighted socket will actually take off the crankshaft bolt. I tried smaller sockets, both 19 millimeter sockets on this same impact, but this weighted socket is what you need. Okay, so once you get this radiator moved back, there's actually some room. You actually get it just enough for impact about this size. Obviously, if you have a smaller impact that's stronger, hey, that's even better. So once you get the crankshaft bolt, that is actually one of the biggest problems of getting this, because otherwise you'd have to use a crank wrench, a hand wrench, or a breaker bar, and then you lock up the flywheel in the back, which is super difficult. So I'm really lucky that I got this off. And as you can see over here, here's where the gasket failures are. Oh, right here. Oh, that's pretty big right there. So next thing is tip number 3, generally remove the valve gaskets. So remove the valve cover gaskets so you have access to the camshafts. So what I'm actually going to do at this point is I'm actually going to remove the rear timing chain cover as well. So the front timing chain cover has a ton of bolts. Make sure you remove the 2 bolts that go into the upper oil pan. So as far as I know, the upper oil pan does not need to be removed for this process. So that's, that's one of the things. So what you do is once you remove those bolts, you just kind of pry back and tilt the outer timing chain cover. Okay. All right, here we go. Here's tip number 3. In order to change a gallery gasket, or one of the better ways of changing a gallery gasket, is actually to remove the rear timing chain cover. Okay, the timing chain cover has tons of 10 millimeter bolts. I would say probably like 30 10 millimeter bolts. First step is to remove the sprockets. The sprockets are actually pretty easy. 17 millimeter on top. Hold the camshaft with a wrench, and then you could just use. Actually, I used a 90-degree impact. Pull that out, and then you just kind of you need to lock these tensioners in. There's a little hole right there. Just put a little pin in there, and it locks the tensioner in, and then you can slowly remove the timing sprockets and the timing chain. Once those come off, then it's the 10 screws. Make sure you remove the 2 bolts that are holding the upper oil pan gasket. There's actually 2 O-rings, one O-ring here, one O-ring here. And then it actually takes a lot of prying because the water pump, you see, it's actually sealed in. The water pump housing is actually sealed in, so that actually comes out. Okay, so here is the inner timing chain cover, right? Inner timing chain cover. So this is where the camshafts go. This is the crankshaft right here. Here's the gallery gasket. As you can see, my gallery gaskets are pretty bad here. See, these are actually all falling apart. They're just pieces of paper that have actually fallen off right here. So tip number 3, I guess, here is remove, if you're going to do a full job, remove the inner timing chain cover and then actually start removing these screws. Don't remove the gallery gasket until you've taken out this part. Makes it 10 times easier. You can use a little Phillips screwdriver impact, little thing that you hammer on, or just use a big screwdriver and actually just releases out. So some of the ones that actually don't have the gaskets are actually pretty loose already. So this bottom one, I've heard that this actually does pretty well. So, but obviously since you've gone this far already, just change it. Okay, so here we go. This is all cleaned and ready to go. Tip number 4, is this. There's actually a coolant pipe that goes through the middle here, and it connects into the back over here. Well, there's actually an O-ring, so when you remove this, give it a good tug, okay, and then just pull it out. And it's not attached to anything. There's no bolt or anything holding it. But this O-ring, go ahead and just replace that O-ring, because this is actually a pretty major coolant passage. So replacing that O-ring at this point is a good idea. Also, take a look inside, and see if there's any dirt or anything like that inside of there in the opening. So then the next step would be to, so I've actually installed the new tensioner and then the cap to the to the camshafts, the end cap to the camshafts on this side. I'm going to do the same thing on this side, change the tensioner and do the caps. And then the next step would be to put in the rear timing chain cover. So we'll go ahead and do sealant all through here, sealing around here, around the water pump, around the two camshaft openings. And then we're going to put a little, we're going to put a sealant, RTV gray torqueable sealant here, across here, and then go on the outside to about here or so, because this is actually the front timing chain cover. See where that line is? So we're gonna just do on the outside, because this hole is in the oil pump. This bolt is in the oil pump. We're actually gonna do the outside. And then same thing on this side too, do a cross sealant here and then do the outside here. So we put the sealant on the bottom side here, because when we put the cover on, it's not gonna move as much as if we put it on the bottom of this, of the timing chain cover. And then don't forget, O-ring here, new O-ring here, and new O-ring here. Okay, very important. And that's it. All right, folks, just taking a look, showing you what it looks like after putting most of it together. Put the intake manifold on, the boots. We're gonna wait to finish up the front here. I'm get ready to put on the belt, drive belt. But you can see we have the new gaskets here, the sealant around the inside outside has dried. We got a new power steering pump here, because you know, these power steering pumps seem to get real weak, so that, you know, is something that helps. And then these belt tensioners and things like that, these actually get very noisy after a while, so these are all spinning really like new. Actually, they are new. So okay, so that's it. Well, I already started it up. It actually seems to run fine without the radiator yet connected, so we'll go ahead and connect that and finish up the job, and then put the front end back on. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to Debt Free Cars. Stay out of debt, pay cash for cars. Debt Free Cars is here to help. Please subscribe.